The moment Marcus walked through those towering glass doors, every eye in the Mercedes showroom fell upon him like judgment itself. His shoes were held together by duct tape and prayer, his jacket bore the stains of 1,000 forgotten mornings, and his weathered face told stories that no amount of cologne could ever mask. The polished salesman exchanged glances, the kind that spoke volumes without a single word spoken. This man did not belong here. Not in a place where dreams came wrapped in leather and steel, where the price of a single vehicle exceeded most people's annual salary. Marcus had spent the last 15 years invisible to the world. He was the kind of person society learned to look through rather than at, a ghost wandering city streets with nothing but a shopping cart full of possessions and a heart full of invisible scars. But today something had shifted inside him. Today, he walked into that showroom carrying a purpose that blazed behind his tired eyes like an ember refusing to die. If you believe in the power of kindness and second chances, I urge you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the most beautiful transformations begin with a single moment of faith. Let's begin. The senior salesman, Derek, approached with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. He was already calculating the probability of this encounter, already rehearsing the gentle ways he might guide this man back toward the door. "Can I help you today, sir?" Derek asked, his tone careful, professional, but unmistakably distant. The other salespeople pretended to be busy, arranging brochures and adjusting display models, but their attention remained locked on the unfolding scene like spectators watching a particularly uncomfortable theater performance. Marcus looked around slowly, taking in every detail, the gleaming vehicles positioned under perfect lighting, the leather chairs in the waiting area, the cappuccino machine humming softly in the corner. His eyes had the quality of someone seeing beauty for perhaps the first time, or perhaps the last. "I'd like to purchase 5 Mercedes trucks," he said quietly, his voice rough from disuse but steady as stone. "Your best models. I'll pay in cash." The showroom seemed to pause. Derek's smile froze on his face like it had been painted there. One of the other salesmen actually laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound that echoed through the silence. The manager, a woman named Patricia who had been monitoring from her glass-walled office, began walking toward them with purpose. This was about to become uncomfortable, and she intended to manage it with professional efficiency. But something stopped her mid-stride. Something in Marcus's eyes. He wasn't joking. He wasn't confused. He wasn't mentally unwell in that way that required gentle redirection. He was serious with a certainty that only comes from deep conviction. Patricia found herself continuing toward him, her skepticism warring with an inexplicable curiosity. What story could possibly bring someone like this to say something like that? And more importantly, what if, by some astronomical odds, it was true? Marcus reached into his jacket and pulled out a worn leather folder. Inside were documents, bank statements, legal papers, property deeds, all bearing his name. The numbers were staggering. The source was listed as a settlement from a class-action lawsuit filed decades ago against a major corporation that had poisoned groundwater in his hometown, causing widespread illness and death. For years, Marcus had been unaware of his own connection to the suit. He'd been living on the streets, unreachable, invisible. But the courts had found him, tracked him down through public records, and delivered the settlement to a legal intermediary. When he'd finally been located through a homeless services center, he discovered that he was now in possession of a fortune he had never sought and had never expected to receive. Patricia's entire demeanor shifted as she reviewed the documentation. Derek's face flushed with a mixture of embarrassment and something that resembled the beginning of genuine shame. The other salesmen suddenly found their previous tasks utterly fascinating. What had seemed impossible moments before was now undeniably real. This ragged man, this invisible ghost walking through their showroom, had every penny needed to purchase not just 5 trucks, but 50. The laughter from earlier hung in the air like a stain that couldn't be washed clean. Over the following hours, as the paperwork was processed and details were arranged, Marcus sat quietly in the waiting area, sipping coffee that tasted like it had been made with pure sunshine and possibility. Patricia approached him several times, each encounter revealing fragments of the man behind the rags and the dirt. She learned that Marcus had a younger sister he hadn't seen in 12 years, a woman named Elena who had become a school teacher despite the poverty of their childhood. She had searched for him for years, feared him dead, grieved him as lost. The settlement meant that Marcus could change more than just his own life. The trucks weren't for him. They were meant to be delivered to different youth organizations across the city. Vehicles that could transport at-risk teenagers to programs that might save their lives, as his sister Elena's dedication had saved so many. What Marcus had experienced walking through that showroom was the collision of two worlds, the world that judges by appearance and the world that measures a person by the depths of their character. When those salesmen laughed, they were laughing at their own blindness, though they didn't yet understand it. They were laughing at a man who, despite being stripped of everything society typically values, maintained the clarity of purpose and the generosity of spirit that most people lose when they gain everything. The 5 Mercedes trucks were delivered one by one over the following weeks, each one equipped and ready for service. Marcus attended the handover ceremonies at each youth center, watching as teenagers who had never seen him before embraced him like a grandfather without knowing his story. Elena was present at every event, and each time she introduced herself, she would hold her brother's weathered hand and tell him how proud she was. Not of his newfound wealth, but of the man he had always been, the man the world had simply failed to see. What began as a moment of humiliation for Derek, Patricia and the other salespeople became something far more profound. Derek quit his job 2 months later and now works with an organization serving homeless populations. Patricia donated a significant portion of her sales commissions to Marcus's initiative. They had learned an invaluable lesson, that dignity cannot be measured by the clothes someone wears, that character cannot be assessed by first appearances, and that sometimes the people we dismiss as society's forgotten teach us the most essential truths about what it truly means to be human. Marcus's story spread throughout the city, then beyond it. He became a quiet symbol of resilience, a living testament to the power of maintaining one's humanity even when the world seems intent on stripping it away. But he never sought the spotlight. He continued living modestly, his wealth translated into action rather than accumulation, his purpose channeled into the lives of young people who needed to know that the world hadn't given up on them, because one man refused to give up on himself. If this story has touched your heart, if it has moved you to believe in the goodness that still exists in this world, I'm asking you now, truly asking you, to engage with this video. Your likes, your comments, your shares carry power. They tell others that stories of transformation and kindness matter, that they deserve to be heard and shared. Be the person who passes this forward. Before you leave, if Marcus's journey resonated with your soul, if you found yourself hoping for people like him, please leave a comment below telling me what this story meant to you. Tell me about a moment when you saw past someone's appearance and discovered the light within them. Let's build a community where everyone's story is valued. The ragged man walked into that showroom one day and laughed at, dismissed, and underestimated. But when he left, he took something with him far more valuable than Mercedes trucks. He left behind a question that every person in that building would carry forever. What if we chose to see differently? What if we chose to believe in the best in people, not the worst? What if kindness and second chances were the real currency that mattered most? That question, dear viewers, is for you as well. It's the question that connects us all.